over at DeSmog, and this was shared over in, I think it was Popular Resistance or Common Dreams, one of those, but it was Nation of Change, but they have a lot of green in their stuff, and against the green screen, it doesn't work out. I figured I'd go to the original anyway. Nick Cunningham, we've actually covered several Nick Cunningham DeSmog blogs over the last year. They are a kick-ass DeSmog blogs. They are a pretty good environmental. Yes, say that five. That was fun to say 5 times fast. They're a really good environmental outlet. This was published about a week ago, about a week and a half ago or so, and I did not see anybody talking about this. And this is kind of an important story, I would say, that children living close to fracking sites have 2 to 3 times higher risk of leukemia. What?
Okay.
Oh. Yep. Where's the soundboard, dude? Like, come on.
I have it.
I'm not hearing it. Okay.
What? Like I can read your mind.
You should be reading my mind at all times. What's going on with that, man? Let's go. So, a new study adds to a growing body of evidence that fracking represents a public health crisis, of course, experts say. And this is one of the fracking sites that they're talking about. And you can see that big hydraulic drill in the middle of the pad, and that's going in and getting natural gas. So, children living close to fracking sites in Pennsylvania are 2 to 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with leukemia, and contamination of drinking water is suspected as an avenue of exposure, according to a new study. I'm sure our friend Aaron Brockovich would have a lot to say about that.
Yep.
Quote, unconventional oil and gas development, and that's called fracking, can both use and release chemicals that have been linked to cancer, so the potential for children living near UOG to be exposed to these chemical carcinogens is a major public health concern, the study's senior author, Nicole Daziel, associate professor of epidemiology at the Yale School of Public Health, said in a statement. That's kind of important, right? Unconventional oil and gas development, more commonly referred to as fracking, exploded over the past 2 decades.
Wait. Unconventional. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
UOG development, very, very corporate, very non-discriminate, very homogenized version of the term.
Dolphin free.
Right?
Like,
it exploded over the past 2 decades with a particularly frenzied period of drilling in Pennsylvania in the early 2010s. Fracking results in a range of toxic chemicals and pollutants being discharged into the air and waterways, including heavy metals, radioactive material, particulate matter, and volatile organic compounds. For example, benzene, a known carcinogen, is routinely emitted into air and water during the drilling and fracking process. Not good.
Yep.
All right. Published on August 17th in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives, study looked at almost 2,500 children in Pennsylvania, including 405 who've been diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, a type of blood cancer. The researchers compared children 2 to 7 years old living within close proximity of fracking sites since birth against others living further away, while controlling for a variety of confounding factors, including other environmental exposures. Quote, our results indicate that exposure to UOG may be an important risk factor for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, particularly for children exposed in utero. Cassandra Clark, one of the study's authors and a postdoctoral associate at Yale Cancer Center, told DeSmog in an email. The researchers looked at oil and gas wells in Pennsylvania that fell within the same watershed as the children in the study and used an exposure metric that takes into account the topography, hydrology, and proximity to gas wells. They found that children living within 2 kilometers, or roughly 1.2 miles of a drill site, were 2 to 3 times more likely to develop acute lymphoblastic leukemia, the most common form of childhood cancer. The results suggest drinking water may be impacted by fracking operations nearby. Other studies have shown that oil and gas drilling uses or emits 55 chemicals that are known or probable human carcinogens. This new study adds more evidence that not only does proximity to fracking contribute to heightened risk of childhood leukemia, but that also that water contamination could be one of the sources again, I don't think that that's really much of a surprise to many of us.
Nope.
Study adds to the enormous body of research that shows negative health impacts for people living close to oil and gas operations. DeSmog has reported on some earlier findings, including the health risks of people living in close proximity to flaring and the increased risk for pregnant women who live close to drilling developing gestational hypertension and eclampsia. Wow. But
It's eclampsia again?
preeclampsia, it's some kind of a blood thing that a lot of pregnant women end up experiencing.
Gotcha.
But there is a dearth of research on the links with childhood cancer, and the Yale study adds stronger evidence on the dangers for children living close to fracking operations. While there have been around 50 epidemiologic studies of UOG's exposure and a variety of health outcomes to date, only 2 studies focused on childhood cancer. This is the largest study of fracking and childhood cancer to date, and the first to incorporate an exposure metric that focuses on the drinking water pathway. Wow.
Okay.
Right? This new study connects a lot of dots. A biologist and co-founder of the Concerned Health Professionals in New York, who was not involved in the study, told DeSmog. As such, this study is a kind of terrifying voila. Great. Adding that the methodology of the study is really robust. Great. So hard to debunk. And for years, the Concerned Health Professionals in New York has compiled and published a compendium of scientific and medical findings of the human health impacts from fracking. The Steingraber noted that the latest study also builds on other research demonstrating for the harms of fracking in Pennsylvania. One study linked higher numbers of gas wells with higher rates of pediatric asthma hospitalizations. I think you have to mute Discord. I think that's what it is. Another found benzene in the bodies of people living near fracking. A third found links between fracking and the risk of heart attack. Quote, oh my God. These findings from this case, for these case control study, both corroborate and extend a rapidly growing body of evidence now documented in more than 100 studies showing that fracking is a public health crisis, Steingraber said. Altogether, these stories, new and old, show us that fracking in Pennsylvania is not safe for Pennsylvanians, even those living a mile or more away. In fact, it's a moral obscenity. Southwest Pennsylvania has also seen a cluster of Ewing's sarcoma in teens, a rare form of bone cancer, and many residents suspect fracking as the culprit. The state's approved millions of dollars in funding to study the possible links. Yeah, don't stop the fracking, just study it.
Fracking, yeah.
Don't stop the fucking fracking. Just let them keep getting cancer and studying it. Fucking monsters.
Mm-hmm.
One consistent takeaway from so many health studies related to fracking is that proximity is key. In many states, there are no federal setback requirements, and drillers are allowed to encroach on local populations, setting up rigs within a few hundred feet of homes and businesses. Quote, the allowable setback in Pennsylvania, where our study was conducted, is 500 feet. Our findings of increased risk of acute lymphoblastic leukemia at distances of 2 kilometers, which is about, only about, 10 times and 12 times that, 13 times that or more from drilling operations, in conjunction with evidence from numerous other studies, suggests that existing setback distances are insufficiently protective of children's health. I don't think that's much of a surprise to too many people. They're killing us in every way, shape, and form, and we got to know about this. I mean, as a parent of young children, this is
we're fucked.
Yeah, horrific. Thank you, Misty. Shout out to Misty, and hoping everything's going okay with your cat too. Everybody just seems to be going through some shit right now. It's a complete mess. I got to tell you. Yes, as Crab says, trust the science. Oh goddamn, man.
Praise the science.
Right. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Fracking Frack the fracking. Let me tell you, is Soros the sheriff? I don't think Soros. This is a Soros-owned sheriff. I don't know, but he's a Democrat, and usually Democrats in Arizona get some kind of funding from some kind of foundation for sure. Yeah, Arpaio is a horrible human being for sure. Reef versus Indy cage match. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think I want that. Reef would fucking have me in a submission hold in about 3 seconds, and I would not
Nah, dude,
enjoy
I'm gonna
that.
make you get 5 rounds, bro.
Yeah, I'm not.
We're getting our cardio on. Son.
I'm tapping on that shit. All right, I'll tap right now. I'm out. All right. Yeah. No one wants mentions the horses born in Oklahoma without the ability to swallow because of fracking. Oh my God. Oh, Kelly. Toro would be amazingly upset about that. And human love. Yeah. Setback of fracking should be at least a quarter mile from the nearest occupied building. Right. But even still, they're showing that it should be at least a mile, or more.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania has poor water and soil. Absolutely. Okay. Again, let me put some of this up. All right. Shelley. Yep. Has also heard some of the things about Homestead. And yep. Halliburton is doing fracking. Karen for sure. And yeah. Human love. Most surface water is polluted from increased fracking activity. Frack water equals road ice removal. Yep. Similar type of stuff. Yeah. Shelley. I knew some people were heavily involved in the anti-fracking movement in central New York and northern Pennsylvania. It's a really long fight, and they did get the fracking moratorium. But there were still a lot of fracking sites that were grandfathered in because they were older technology than in the newer hydro fracking. Thank you, Shelley.